Hello, you've just reached Pharaoh Hour. Thank you for all of your responses to my request for questions. In my new search for self actualization, I am, willing now to open up and tell my story. So thank you. Due to the overwhelming amount of mail, I won't be able to read all the questions, but I will take the time today to go over some questions that some of the viewers have sent in, and hopefully, I'll get to the rest of them. But due to the overwhelming amount of mail, I just wasn't able to read everyone's question today. Okay, so the first question up: what do you feel in your heart that made you hold on to the Israelites? I would say having to fill my father's throne was a very big step for me. As I grew up, I wanted to make my father proud. I wanted to be the one that he looked to be strong and carry on his legacy. Okay? So, next question. Did you believe Moses after the fourth plague? The fourth plague. Wow. The saddest thing about the fourth plague was the loss of my son. Their God took him from me, but expected me to free his people. And I was so heartbroken at the loss that I did tell Moses to take his people and leave. But then I started to think, who was going to build my son's tomb and continue the upkeep of the land? They had to come back. I didn't have anybody that could do it, and I couldn't do it myself. So they had to come and continue the vision of my father. So, no, I wouldn't say that I believe Moses and his God of tricks. Next question, moving on. Well, we're doing good. These are some really good questions also. Thank you, guys. Does the deity of the Jews conflict with your own understanding of your deistic nature? Whew. Now, his God's tricks were profound. True, I have to say that they were profound. But my gods of sea and earth can perform the same tricks as well. But I must admit that the Red Sea departure, now that forced me to humble myself, because everything I lost in an instant. Everything was gone. I lost my son. I lost my army, my kingdom. That that would be the only conflict because my gods couldn't answer that question for me. Okay. In light of the price of the plague, if you could have done things differently, what would you have done? With this question, I must say, honestly, I feel that if I had let them go before, then my son would still be here with me. So, if I had known that my son was going to be taken, I don't think I would have kept them any further. I think I would have let them go. Because I loved my son so much. And with that being said, this moves right into my next question that I was given. What lesson did you learn about the Israelites' God? And, piggybacking off of the previous one, I must say that I learned that he will humble you and take the very things that you love so dearly to get your attention and for you to acknowledge him. Now, honestly, that wasn't easy for me because I didn't even believe in him. But he humbled me anyway. He, was able to come into my life even though I didn't want him to. And that was the biggest lesson of all. And lastly, before we move on to Marion's Minute of Majesty, the last question will be, why did you hold on to your idea of sovereignty after you were faced with plagues that you knew that you could not replicate? And you know what? I've asked myself this question over and over again, but I've always come to the same answer. I'm going to say it was my pride. My pride allowed me to be stubborn because I had an image to uphold. I didn't want to seem vulnerable or easy to sway. I didn't want my kingdom to crumble because of a vulnerable moment. So I must say that my pride and hate was my downfall. So, well, that's all the time I have for questions today, but I will come back tomorrow, hopefully, with some more questions. So, right now, we're going to go over to Miriam's moment of majesty. Followed up will be Aaron's advice about arrows and acupuncture. So, very informative segments coming up. Stay tuned. Thank you. Have a great one.